attention Dr. Leslie Lyons, class of 1981. Dr. Lyons has a PhD in human genetics from UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Lyons is a world-known professor of population health and reproduction. Dr. Lyons has earned a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Pittsburgh in biochemistry, along with a master's degree and PhD in human genetics. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Leslie Lyons. Good to see her sporting that Red Raider coat. Next up is Dr. Daniel J. Risha, class of 1961. Dr. Risha received his undergraduate degree from Penn State University. Following graduation, he joined the U.S. Navy from 1967 to 1971. Dr. Risha worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, where he received his PhD in aerospace engineering and worked in the Aerospace Propulsion Division. He retired from Wright-Patterson in 2012 and currently works for the Universal Technology Corporation as a technical expert in computation methods in Maryville, Tennessee. Dr. Risha has served on several technical committees for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and NASA. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Daniel J. Risha. Those were our academics nominees. Now on to arts. First up is Dr. Regina Carlo, class of 1977. Dr. Carlo is a graduate of Westminster Choir College in Princeton, New Jersey. Dr. Carlo has taught music in the Washington, D.C. area for more than 20 years and has a master's degree and a PhD in music from Catholic University. Dr. Carlo is currently a professor of music education and an associate dean of student affairs at the College of Fine Arts at the University of New Mexico. She has been the director of several choirs, author of 2 books, a lecturer, and a conductor. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Regina Carlo. Lorraine Sousa, class of 1963. Ms. Sousa has been a master dance teacher for over 40 years. She has trained local students who have entered careers in dance on many different levels. Ms. Sousa has been part of many professional dance associations. She was the recipient of the Dance Masters of America Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015. She has also received recognition from Bob Fosse. Ladies and gentlemen, Lorraine Sousa. Saul Swimmer, class of 1954. Sitting in for Saul is his nephew, Josh Swimmer. Mr. Swimmer received his bachelor's degree from Carnegie Mellon University. He's worked as a documentary film director and producer. He's best known for his work for the Concert for Bangladesh, the George Harrison-led show at Madison Square Garden. He is also the co-producer of the Beatles' 1970 documentary, Let It Be. Later in his career, Mr. Swimmer developed the Vision Projection System giant screen technology, which is a pre-IMAX system. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Saul Swimmer. And now on to athletics. First up, we have Jeff Spinetti, class of 1985. Mr. Spinetti participated in football, baseball, and wrestled while he attended UHS. He is best remembered for winning the state championship in wrestling in the 185 weight class. Mr. Spinetti went on to attend West Virginia on a wrestling scholarship where he went to the NCAA Wrestling National Championship 3 times. He was ranked 5th in the nation during his senior year. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Spinetti. Terrence Jackson, class of 1982. Mr. Jackson was a 3-sport letter winner while at UHS. He was a member of the 1981 state championship basketball team, but he is best known for his high jumping skills. He won the PIAA state and WPIAL championship 3 times in high school. Mr. Jackson held the state title at one time with a jump of 7 feet 1/4 inch, which is still the WPIAL record. He has been in Sports Illustrated Faces in the Crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, Terrence Jackson. Tori Epps, class of 1985. Sitting in for Tori is Ben Wilson. Mr. Epps was a letter winner at UHS in football. This was the sport that made him famous. He won a scholarship to play football at Memphis State University, and he was an 8th round pick in the NFL draft, going to the Atlanta Falcons. He played for the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints as well. He also played 7 seasons with the Tampa Bay Storm of the Arena Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Mr. Epps. Thank you, Ben. Bill Broda. Mr. Broda was a coach at the junior high level in the Uniontown area school district. He would start with the 7th grade students and continue to develop their skills through 8th grade. These students were definitely ready for the varsity level once at the high school. His complete dedication to his student athletes was his willingness to take them to weekend tournaments and scrimmages while paying the entry fees on his own. Ladies and gentlemen, for our coach entry, Bill Broda. For our vocational technical category is Lawrence Rossi, class of 1978. Mr. Rossi is a longtime electrical construction instructor at the Fayette County Career and Technical Institute. He has served as the Skills USA advisor for the past 28 years. His students have earned more than 25 regional gold medals, 4 state championships, and 8 national medals. He has twice been named Skills USA Advisor of the Year. Mr. Rossi serves as Vice President of the West Virginia chapter of the International Association of Electrical Inspectors. Ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Rossi. For a special recognition, we are honoring Wilfred Spider Minor. Representing him, or sitting in for Wilfred, is his nephew, Wilfred Minor. Wilfred was a local sports legend who taught, coached, and mentored many young athletes in Fayette County. He was a graduate of UHS in 1946, where he played football, baseball, and basketball. Mr. Minor was considered the commissioner of the East End Playgrounds, where he helped to develop many All-Americans, NBA, and NFL athletes. His passion was motivating all athletes to perform to the best of their abilities. He was a natural leader in sports as well as in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, Wilfred Minor. And for our team recognition, the 1962 PIAA State Championship team. The team was dominant. They were feared in the WPIAL and in the state of Pennsylvania. They had a combined section record of 95-1 from 1959 through 1960 and 1965 through 1966. They beat Norristown in 1962 to secure Uniontown's 2nd state championship, a feat that was last done in 1925. The team had Uniontown's first 1,000-point scorer on it, and Don Yates. Many players on this team went on to play basketball on the collegiate level. Members here from the 1962 team are as follows: Bob Sessler, Ronald Cassidy, Daryl DiCarlo, Ron Sepik, Bob Warman, Don Yates, Alan Curry, and other members were Pete Smith, Paul Yesbeck, John Zenkovich, Joe John, Tom Fee, Jim Kovar, Dick Barnes, Bennett Gregory, with head coach Abe Everhart, assistant coach John Kruper, and manager Joe Akato. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1962 state championship basketball team. Let's give another round of applause for our Hall of Fame inductees for the class of 2016. Go Raiders.
seated, and we'll introduce our MC, which is Aaron Scott, and we'll start from here, okay? Thank you. Mom and Dad.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Uniontown Auditorium and the 4th edition of our Hall of Fame 2016. Before we introduce the inductees for this year's class of 2016, again, I would like to thank a few people. The first person who is the brainchild behind all this, and again, as he calls himself, the pain, is Anthony Mercadante. So please give Mr. Mercadante a round of applause. And again, also, there's about 30 or 40 people that comprise of the Hall of Fame committees, and we work tirelessly sometimes because, again, Merkel will not leave us alone until things get done. So, again, without Mr. Mercadante and his push and drive, which I'm sure you inductees know, if you did not answer his first phone call, I'm sure he called you many, many times to make sure you answered. So, again, Mr. Mercadante is the brainchild behind this. Not very many schools have this in the western part of the state. Come to find out, a lot of people are asking, how did you start your Hall of Fame and this and that, and it's a lot of work. So, again, I appreciate the inductees being here. I appreciate the support of the family and the friends being here, and hopefully you can learn a little bit from our inductees. Again, 3 classifications: the academics, the arts, and the athletics are part of it. We have a special recognition. We also have a basketball team we're putting in, and then a coach every year. We're first going to start with the academic section. Our first inductee tonight, or this morning, is Dr. Leslie Lyons, class of 1981. Dr. Lyons has a PhD in genetics from UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Lyons is a world-known professor of population health and reproduction. Dr. Lyons has earned a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Pittsburgh in biochemistry, along with a master's degree and PhD degree in human genetics. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Leslie Lyons.
Wow, thank you very much. I really appreciate the word from the Academy. The committee. Actually, it was quite a great pleasure. I'm quite tickled. And when I got off the phone with Tony, I thought, man, I've like won a major award. Will I get a table lamp or something? So I'm really quite thrilled to be here. But over the years being in academia and being at the universities, I've come to see and realize how good my education really was coming from Uniontown. And it's not only just being at the high school and what I had at the high school. Truly, from the high school, I had my whole first year at the University of Pittsburgh covered. And that was 35 years ago, so it was pretty good that I still recognize that my high school education was better than many of the kids that I see now that come into college whether it was at UC Davis or now at the University of Missouri. So it hands down to all the teachers that I had over the years. But I'd like to thank many, who you are and what you've accomplished is not just your books and your education, it's certainly who you've met all through your life. And so it became our goal once I haven't seen Mrs. Emelson, but I heard she had a very good turnout last year. So it became our goal to break the record, and I think we do have maybe some 60 people, so we've raised the bar a little bit. So I'm most pleased everyone's here, and I just want to take a few minutes to recognize the people that have shown up. And I had tables organized, but I'll just go in kind of chronological order. Of my first and oldest friends are the Carpuses, which are my mom's dearest friends as well. And through them, I've learned to love movies and love roller coasters. And to this day, I still love both, but also to love pizza. because Loretta Lazarus is here, and if you never had, yeah, for Loretta, if you never had Lazarus pizza, then you really haven't lived. And last night at Rizzo's, we were kind of laughing at this pizza because it's still certainly not as good as Loretta's pizza. But then certainly, I lived a couple years and went to Craig School, but most of my years was at Berkeley. And that's where I met Lisa McClay and the Dudas, and they're all here, yeah. And so they're all here. But we also had a great time and learned a lot living together and growing together. Never lived at a time when there was any bullying or anything like that. And that's probably because we were under the supervision of Chuck McChesney. So he took care of us on the playgrounds, and you know, there's not things like that anymore. And that was really just a super thing to have. And then also growing up on Delaware and Easy Street. Where's the Delaware and Easy Street gang out there? Sherry Keg is keeping an eye on all you guys. She's the force in the room. And to see those guys and have them come back is really wonderful, because growing up with them, just, you know, everybody was hard workers. And even though people had different academics and got separated into different classes, you learned to work hard. There was nobody working harder than the Launces every day, and they really helped me to develop my work ethic. But certainly being at Uniontown, both work ethic and my schooling was really most helpful. I've come, now that once I went to University of Pittsburgh, so I was there for 10 years and got my PhD also from the University of Pittsburgh. I came to know the people that really kind of taught me how to live and to have adventures in life. And those are my scuba buddies out there. So if you ever hear that I'm going up to Seven Springs, that's all those guys there that taught me how to scuba dive, how to ski. Last year we just went ATV riding and stuff. And just learning about those things and learning about life is really just a part of everything as well. And so it's really just been everything coming together that has really helped me in life to be able to be here, not just Uniontown. And I have to say, Ralph Bliss is in the audience, and so he was one of my teachers. And I never thought, I was in science, that was really my deal, and I never thought world cultures would be big part of my life. But once I went to Egypt, I had to learn a lot, again, about Mesopotamian, Fertile Crescent. So, Ralph, you've been on my mind a lot through life, as I've had to relearn cultures from all over the world, because cats have taken me all over the world to very many wonderful, wonderful places. And so, but I've also had those opportunities because I got this. There's been two key people who have helped take care of my parents. And that is, of course, my mom helping to take care of my dad, and Janet Cease towards older in her life. And John Hayden, who my mom is married to now. Without them, I wouldn't be able to be as carefree. I wouldn't be able to go at leisure because I know they were taken care of and everything was fine. So I was able to really explore my life more than a lot of other people have. So with all these people in my life, it's not just the education, it's the education of being with all these people that have helped me get where I am here today, winning a major award from the University, Uniontown Area High School. Thank you.
Dr. Lyons, I still need you. Dr. Lyons, Page, Dr. Lyons, come back, please. Come back, Leslie. I'd like to present Mr. Rich Bierbauer. He will offer Dr. Lyons her plaque. stand up and give her a round of applause. The friends and family of Dr. Lyons. Thank you. Tell us at the football game, Dr. Lyons wore her Letterman's jacket, or found a Letterman's jacket, and she was full of rage and pride last night, so thank you so much for doing that. Our next inductee this morning is Dr. Daniel J. Risha, class of 1961. Dr. Risha received his undergraduate degree from Penn State University. Following graduation, he joined the U.S. Navy from 1967 to 1971. Dr. Risha worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, where he received his PhD in aerospace engineering and worked in the Aerospace Propulsion Division. He retired from Wright-Patterson in 2012 and currently works for the Universal Technology Corporation as a technical expert in computation methods in Maryville, Tennessee. Dr. Risha has served on several technical committees for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and NASA. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Daniel J. Risha.
Thank you. I'd like to first thank the teachers and the school system of Uniontown for providing me a very excellent public education. Also, I would like to thank my sister-in-law, Rhonda, for encouraging me to submit my resume to this committee. Third, I'd like to thank Mark and the the committee for selecting me as one of their honorees. Also, I'd like to thank all my brothers and sisters for the support through the years. I'd like to thank Mike, my brother, for reviewing and editing my PhD dissertation, and of course my parents, Ike and Jesse, who are here, and finally my wife, Rita, for putting up with me all these years.
Would the friends and family of Dr. Risha please stand up and be recognized? Mr. Richard Beerbauer will offer Dr. Risha the plaque. Dr. Risha, we are going to put your name in the Hall of Fame as also a world record holder of the Uniontown Area School District Hall of Fame as the shortest speech ever. Congratulations. Our next section, we're going to be moving on to the arts. Our first inductee is Dr. Regina Carlo, class of 1977. Dr. Carlo is a graduate of Westminster Choir College in Princeton, New Jersey. Dr. Carlo has taught music in Washington, D.C. area for more than 20 years. Dr. Carlo has a master's degree and PhD degree in music from Catholic University. Dr. Carlo is currently a professor of music education and the associate dean of student affairs in the College of Fine Arts at the University of New Mexico. Dr. Carlo has been a director of several choirs, author of 2 books, a lecturer, and a conductor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Regina Carlo, class of 1977.
I'm so very grateful to have this opportunity to say thank you to this community and school district that offered me an extraordinary education. There are no comparisons to school arts programs that I see today. Nothing compares to what I had at Uniontown High School in the 70s. There, I said it. I haven't been on the stage in 39 years, but it sure feels good to be back. My teachers filled my world with music, drama, and literature. I was given academic content that fueled my dreams and helped form my identity as an artist and teacher. Of course, I was fortunate to have a mother that supported me and allowed me to be completely absorbed in the arts, to the detriment, of course, of my other subjects. I also had a father who took some convincing, but eventually he found ways to understand that he was raising an artsy kid. I'm grateful for the many reality checks from my family, my brother Michael insisting that I spend the summer of my sophomore year taking a typing course, because in his words, I could at least get a job. And my dear sister Bernie, who warned me about the difficulties of pursuing a career in the arts. She said, Gina, you're good for here, but if you compare yourself to the other kids, you're just average. Whoa. But I will say that both of my siblings were right. I needed to learn to type. And Michael, perhaps you must have known that in 40 years we would be talking with our thumbs. And Bernie, your sage advice pushed me then and pushes me today. And it helps me have those difficult conversations with my own students who absolutely need a reality check. My beloved cousin Carla, thank you for all the ways you've held our family together. When we were little, you were my sidekick, my little sister, and today you're leading us and loving us all. I thank you so very much. I'm grateful for my many teachers at Uniontown High School. I'll never forget the day that Richard Bierbauer said to me, Miss Carlo, if you dreamed more about diagramming sentences than dreaming about music, you would be dangerous. Well, that prodding really paid off because I know parts of speech. And also learned how important it is to know how to write and how to speak. And so I'm forever grateful. To say that I was at Uniontown High School in the Emerson era is an honor. To have access to an arts educator of her caliber was an absolutely unique opportunity. Margaret Emerson, you didn't mince words. You told people what they needed to hear, another reality check. And sadly, in this day and age, it's all too rare. The testing environment has dramatically cut funding for the arts. Arts programs aren't what they used to be. Our children are not getting the deep and rich experiences in the arts that I have. I would say my talent as an actress was decidedly less than average, but she offered me roles that opened my eyes to a rich world of literature, characters, playwrights, and genres that allowed me to live richly in the arts as a teenager. You still enrich me today with your amazing inspirational Facebook posts and personal notes. Thank you, Margaret Ellison. I distinctly remember the day I wanted to be a music teacher. I was sitting in the music room right here, and it was in Bob Rombaugh's choir classroom, and he was teaching Bridge Over Troubled Waters. In my daydreams, I was going to be that teacher that was welcoming, inclusive, fun, and yes, I even designed my own flowy 70s pantsuit. Most of that has come true, and I'm very honored to share this stage with all of you, especially Lorraine Sousa, who was a most inspirational friend and teacher, another woman, strong woman who didn't mince words. But I used so much of what I learned in my teaching with you. I thank the committee. I am most honored to be here. Thank you all very much.
And to present the plaque to Dr. Carlo is Miss Janice Deli. would the family and friends of Dr. Carlo please stand up and recognize again Dr. Regina Carlo, class of 1977. Our next inductee this morning is Lorraine Sousa, class of 1963. Ms. Sousa has been a master dance teacher for over 40 years. She has trained local students who have entered careers in dance on many different levels. Ms. Sousa has been part of many professional dance associations. She was the recipient of Dance Masters of America Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015. She also has received recognition from Bob Fosse. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Lorraine Sousa, class of 1963.
In June, in this auditorium, I celebrated my 52nd dance concert. When I was 6, I fell in love with being on stage. When I was 18, I fell in love with teaching the art of dance to others. College for dance educator was not even available at that time, so I explored the options that were available to me. Dance Educators of America had a teacher's training program in New York City. I was fortunate enough to be able to study with the most acclaimed teachers of that era. I graduated from that 3-year program and continued my education by traveling to New York every summer for studies. I'll always remember the words I heard in my first teacher's training class. They were, if as a teacher you produce one student who goes on to a professional career, you can consider yourself a success. I have been very fortunate to have had 25 students who have gone on to become professional performers. One student was Mia Price, who was inducted into the Uniontown High School Hall of Fame last year. More than 20 of my students have chosen dance education as their career path, and many more have been fortunate enough to be able to continue to share their love of the arts in addition to their chosen career. Dance has given my students the tools they need to reach their dreams: discipline, confidence, perseverance, time management, and setting and achieving goals, not only in the arts, but in many careers. Some of my students have become doctors, college professors, dentists, financial advisors, nurses, physical therapists, meeting planners, and teachers, to name a few. One of my students, Regina Carlo, has achieved recognition in her field and is being honored here today. I am proud of her accomplishments and excited to be inducted along with her. I am very proud of all the dancing feet that have passed through my door for the past 50 years. As a result of organizations and teachers that have seen the students I have produced, I've been invited to teach throughout the United States, Canada, and in London, England. For the past 30 years, I have been on the faculty of Dance Masters of America's Teachers Training School held annually at the State University of New York at Buffalo. I have fully enjoyed my career. Teaching dance has been totally fulfilling for me, and I cannot put into words the thrill and excitement of seeing many of my students perform professionally in theme parks, with touring companies, and the ultimate achievement of performing on the Broadway stage. I would like to thank my family, friends, students, and their parents who are sharing this day with me. I am honored to be inducted into the Uniontown High School Hall of Fame with so many prestigious individuals, and I thank you.
And on behalf of the committee, we have Ms. Janice Deli presenting Ms. Lorraine Sousa her plaque. Friends and family of Mrs. Sousa, please stand up and be recognized. Let's give her a big round of applause. auditorium is Saul Swimmer, class of 1954. Mr. Swimmer received his bachelor's degree from Carnegie Mellon University. He has worked as a documentary film director and producer. He's best known for his work for the Concert for Bangladesh, the George Harrison-led show at Madison Square Garden. He is also the co-producer of the Beatles' 1970 documentary, Let It Be. Later in his career, Mr. Swimmer developed a vision projection giant screen technology system, which is a pre-IMAX system. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Saul Swimmer, representing Mr. Swimmer is his nephew, Josh Swimmer.
Good morning, Red Raiders. I'm Joshua Swimmer, and Saul Swimmer was my uncle. Some of you may remember my father, Wolf Swimmer. Well, Saul was my father's youngest brother. My grandparents, Meyer and Gertrude, first moved to Uniontown in 1927 to open their first dry cleaning store. And over the next 25 years, they started a family in the beginnings of a family business, later to be named Swimmer's Cleaners and eventually Cabot Wire Company. All of their 5 children participated in the dry cleaning business, and we have heard many stories of the young brothers driving the trucks around southwestern Pennsylvania, picking up laundry and toiling long hours in the dry cleaning plant on Gallatin Avenue. They say people are a product of their environment. If so, this early introduction into the glamorous life of Fayette County's dirty laundry may have been enough to plant a seed in Saul to pursue his dreams in the big city. Growing up as a youngster in the early 70s, I remember all of my aunts and uncles and cousins reuniting back in Uniontown for all of the holidays. Uncle Saul always had a close relationship with his extended family and rarely missed coming back. We were always in awe of Saul. He had the coolest clothes and sunglasses, and his stories were always off the charts. At the time, we always wondered if Saulie really lived this glamorous movie producer life. He was born in Uniontown in 1936, the youngest of 5 children. Growing up in a large family on Lincoln Street was always fun, and there was always excitement going on. From the youngest days, Saul was always putting some kind of theater together. Many summers in his youth, he organized carnivals or plays in the backyard, and everyone in the neighborhood would come, either as a participant or as part of the audience. His charm and easygoing manner always attracted many people. There is an old saying about small towns. It goes that no matter what you do, someone always knew you would. And after looking through Saul's high school yearbook, I think that would have been true. He went to Gallatin Elementary, Lafayette Junior High, and of course Uniontown Senior High, graduating in 1954. He was his homeroom president, was on the senior high news business staff, the head of the drama club, and participated in all of the school plays. He was treasurer of the Alpha Tri Y and was the top hat president. Does anybody remember the top hat? And these are only the highlights. He then attended Antioch College for 1 semester before transferring to Carnegie Tech, now known as Carnegie Mellon University, graduating with a degree in theater arts. After college, Saul immediately took off to New York City, where he met and connected with people who helped propel him professionally into the world of theater and film. One of his first endeavors was directing a children's film called The Boy Who Owned a Melephant at 27 years old. And it was narrated by Tallulah Bankhead the famous Alfred Hitchcock film star. It won a Gold Leaf Award at the Venice Children's Film Festival in 1963, the year I was born. And this put Saul on the radar of the independent film industry, as he was now an award-winning director in Europe, no less, and ironically was swept into the British rock invasion of the early 60s. Just in case you don't know, the British invasion was a phenomenon that occurred when rock and pop music acts from England became the popular rage in the United States. The Beatles, the Kinks, the Rolling Stones, Herman's Hermits, the Animals, all were at the forefront of the invasion. Somehow, Saul was now residing in New York City as part of an in-crowd which included Andy Warhol, Joe Namath, Liz Taylor, Elvis, the Beatles, and others. He was able to establish himself as an independent film director and producer and took on various projects that gained critical acclaim. In 1970, he won a Film Critics Award for his movie Without Each Other, and through his association with Alan Klein, the manager of the Beatles, he was asked to co-produce the Beatles documentary Let It Be. This all happened when the Beatles were at the peak of their popularity, but also as they were imploding and eventually broke up. When ex-Beatle George Harrison put together the concert for Bangladesh in 1972, he asked Saul to produce and direct a documentary about the concert. The show was to become the first ever benefit concert of this magnitude and featured a supergroup of performers that included Harrison and fellow ex-Beatle Ringo Starr, Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, Billy Preston, and others, and was held at Madison Square Garden. Saul gained notoriety for this project when he developed a process wherein smaller 16mm film was blown up to 70mm without any distortion and maintaining a crystal clear picture quality. Bangladesh was shown in a full 70mm format, the first of this type of production. In fact, knowledge gained while filming and editing the concert for Bangladesh led to development of his later projects. The original film was distributed by 20th Century Fox and raised over $15 million for charity, which would be over $500 million in today's dollars. During the film's original release, because it was so innovative as a method of raising funds and awareness for crisis situations around the world, UNICEF presented silver medals to Saul, George Harrison, and some of the others involved in the project. Later in the 70s, Saul went even further into independent film production, and with anxious investors like Ringo, created and filmed some of the early spaghetti westerns with his sidekick Tony Anthony. Since the films were to be produced by Saul, who had directed several of the Beatles' music videos and concert films, Ringo accepted a supporting role in the movie as one of the Mexican bad guys. Other films that Saul produced and directed included Mrs. Brown, You Have a Lovely Daughter with Herman's Hermits, Around the World with Mike Todd, the acclaimed movie director and husband of Elizabeth Taylor, Life and Times of Joe Namath, and The Black Pearl, a children's movie with a giant mechanical underwater manta ray as the protagonist, in a similar vein to Jaws. Saul always thought big and returned to his rock dock roots when he invented and perfected his mobile vision technology. With the experience built up after Bangladesh, Saul refined his production process and was credited with inventing the precursor to the IMAX theater. This was a system which included a razor-sharp picture on a 60-foot by 80-foot giant screen. That's 5 stories high. with a 24-track stereo and 100,000 watts of sound power. But unlike IMAX, the mobile vision system was designed to be portable and was capable of being transported from venue to venue for concerts. One of his first features for this venue was We Will Rock You, a film Saul produced and directed about the rock group Queen's 1982 concert in Montreal. He toured the film all over North America and Europe from stadium to stadium, gaining tremendous popularity when lead singer Freddie Mercury died. We Will Rock You eventually was certified double platinum by the Recording Industry of America. Solly planned on producing a series of these types of live concert movies. Talks over the years included projects with Elvis, the Jackson 5, David Bowie, the Miami Sound Machine, among others. Sadly, most of these deals were never made. But at the time of his death, Saul was still at it, creating Bob Marley and Friends, a rockumentary of Marley's music and powerful legacy, using footage of the 1977 Rainbow concert in London. Footage of the concert had been lost and was newly discovered and looked incredible 5 stories tall. The film is about 99% done, but sadly may never be finished. My Uncle Saul Swimmer was a man of charm, wit, and grace, a man of intelligence and creativity, a true artist in his craft. Before he passed away in 2007, he regularly came back to Uniontown and always held a close relationship with his family. He loved to reminisce about the old days, growing up on Lincoln Street, and how they grew up with so little. So on behalf of Saul, and from all of us in the Swimmer family, we're very proud and humbled to accept this award in his memory from the Uniontown Area High School Academics, Arts, and Athletics Hall of Fame. Thank you.
On behalf of the committee, Mrs. Janice Deli, presenting the plaque. Friends and family of Mr. Saul Swimmer, please stand up and be recognized. And all the inductees are pretty awesome, but that was an awesome story. That was pretty cool. Our next category is under athletics. Our first inductee under the athletics is Mr. Jeff Spinetti, class of 1985. Mr. Spinetti participated in football, baseball, and wrestled while he attended UHS. He is best remembered for winning the state championship in wrestling in the 185 weight class. Mr. Spinetti went on to attend West Virginia on a wrestling scholarship, where he went to the NCAA Wrestling National Championship 3 times. He was ranked 5th in the nation during his senior year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, class of 1985, Mr. Jeff Spinetti.
All right, a lot of things to say, but I'll cut it short. First of all, I want to say I'm thrilled to be here, proud, very happy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my career. It almost wasn't. First of all, I love all sports. I play all sports. But wrestling came about, actually, when I was in my 4th grade year in elementary. I was a chubby little, I guess you'd call fat kid. I was 140 pounds. And I played football, I played baseball, but I needed a sport in the middle. My mother wanted to keep me busy, work some weight off, so I had 2 choices, basically basketball or wrestling. So as you can see, I'm not really built for basketball, so she signed me up for wrestling. Wasn't too happy about it. I cried, I did, I wanted to quit. bad. My dad wouldn't let me. My mother, she's tough. Her words to all coaches were, you whip him into shape, it doesn't matter what you have to do to him. Times have changed, and that's true. You know, it wasn't no, you do whatever you have to do to him, whatever. So she took me in there and she told me, you might not have to wrestle matches, but you're gonna go to practice and you're gonna work. So I'm gonna get you lose some weight. So fourth grade came and went. I stuck with it. Time passed. I continued with it. She made me wrestle. I still didn't like it, but it was kind of growing on me. So it came down to my 7th grade year, Ben Franklin Junior High. And all my friends, Paul Calaresi, Jimmy Burns, all my boys were playing basketball. So I had my card. There was a sign for basketball. My, what do you call it, for the nurse to sign it to get to participate. So I'm in the middle of the hallway walking down Ben Franklin, and I run into my good friend Mark Jenkins over here. He said, what are you going out for? He said, wrestling. I said, what are you going? I said, basketball. He said, go out for wrestling. So we walked right there, walked to the office, called my mother, changed it to wrestling, never looked back. Jerry Simon was my coach all the way through, I have to mention him. When I was in elementary, he was elementary. When I moved to junior high, he went to junior high. And when he got the high school job. Mr. Constantine was a coach before him. He became principal. I moved up to the high school. And actually, me and Mark Jenkins actually practiced with high school in 8th grade. We thought it was best, and it actually helped my development a lot. But 9th grade came, wrestled, and I got to mention Mr. Yurchek. He was a one of a kind, you know, great. If he coached today, he'd be fired. You doing push-ups, better not hit that belly, you got kicked in the ribs. He'd wear football spikes to practice, right? The old spikes. We were doing 6 inches, he'd come and walk over the belly. Yeah. So I had to mention him. But played all sports, and even into my senior year, if you had told me I was going to wrestle in college, I'd have said, you're crazy. I did well. I went to states the whole time. I did well. But I always wanted to play football. But like to play basketball, I never went this way. I have to mention my good friend Tori Epps. I miss him dearly. We played football. We were best friends, so I didn't try to throw his name out there. But anyway, senior year came. I was undefeated. And kind of was in that situation before, went to the state tournament, and past experience, I'm like, I just want to come out here, I just want to place, and I'd be happy. So went in there, won a couple matches, semifinals came. The guy who I was wrestling was highly regarded, that everybody was thinking he was going to win. He was 35-0 or something like that. We were both undefeated. I ended up winning the state title, and from there, everything took off. Once that happened, I basically could have went wherever I wanted. I remember visiting Oklahoma State, and they said, you come here, don't plan on going home in the summer. You're going to stay here and where else? I ain't going there. I've always been a homeboy, and at the time I chose West Virginia University. They were top 20 in the nation as a team, so I took a chance, and it was more laid back, more kind of what I wanted. So I might have get better at Oklahoma State, I don't know. But I chose West Virginia, had a great career. I loved every minute of that. Coach Turnbull was my coach. I'm more proud, maybe the most thing I'm most proud of, more than individual accomplishments, was my senior year. As a team, we placed 6th in the nation, Division I. We beat Oklahoma State, we beat Penn State, and we were this close to beating the national champs. It came down to the last match, and we were that good. And that might be one of my most prized, things. But couple things just off the top of my head. I did wrestle Kurt Angle. People say, did you wrestle Kurt Angle? Yes, I did. I beat his butt. He beat me once, but I beat him last. I also wrestled Randy the Natural Couture. I don't know if you guys, he's MMA, he won the martial arts title. And I don't know if you got older people, remember Carlton Hasselrig, he played for the Steelers. I wrestled him. There was a couple other guys along the way that of note, but I'll just leave them out. But it opened many doors for me. I saw many places, wrestled many people who I just named, and that's about it. Very happy to be here. I want to thank my mother, definitely, my dad. I don't know why, because he let me quit. But Marky Jenkins for talking me into it. I promised my daughter I mentioned her name, Hannah, Nathan, and that's it. Thank you for everything. Go Raiders.
Presenting Jeff the plaque for the athletics part of the Hall of Fame is Mr. Sal Mercadani. Would the friends and family of Mr. Spinetti please stand up and be recognized, and let's give Jeff another round of applause. Our next inductee under the athletics, Mr. Terrence Jackson, class of 1982. Mr. Jackson was a three-sport letter winner while at UHS. Mr. Jackson was a member of the 1981 state championship basketball team. Mr. Jackson is best known for his high jumping skills. Oh, sorry. We'll get to Mr. Jackson. I was excited to shake his hand. I never shook a hand of a person who could jump over my head, so sorry. In my roster here, Mercadani, it says, okay. Mr. Torrey Epps, class of 1985. Mr. Epps was a letter winner at UHS in football. This was a sport that made him famous. He won a scholarship to play football at Memphis State University. He was an 8th round draft choice, NFL draft choice for the Atlanta Falcons. He played for the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints as well. He also played 7 seasons with the Tampa Bay Storm of the Arena Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Mr. Epps is Paul Epps.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees. What an honor for them. I'd like to say thanks to the committee for the honor that's bestowed upon my brother, Torrey. And a lot of people have asked me, how was Torrey? What was he like? Those people who didn't know him. And I can tell you many stories, and believe me, there are a lot of stories to be told. Those of you who know him know what I'm talking about. But one story that always stood out to me was on the passing of my brother. And I was at the funeral home, I'm in the receiving line, and I see a handicapped man, and he's waiting patiently to get up to us and offer his condolences. So he says, "Can I tell you a story?" I said, "Sure." So he says, when I was in high school, Torrey didn't know me, but a bunch of kids had been picking on him. And Torrey had found out that they were picking on him, and he went up to the kids, stood by him amongst these kids who were picking on him, and he told them, "This is my friend, and you will not pick on him anymore." And from that moment on, he says he never had a problem. So that's the type of character that Torrey was. That was my brother. He was fun-loving, sense of humor. But one thing that he never forgot, despite his success as a professional player, he never forgot where he came from. And he would come home during the off season quite often. He worked out here, he spoke to the youths of Uniontown, and he was very, very proud to be a Uniontown Red Raider. So I would like to extend my thanks to my family, many friends that have turned out for Torrey, and again, to the committee for selecting Torrey for this honor. Thank you.
us with the plaque is Mr. Sal Mercandani. Tori Epps, please stand up and be recognized. Tori Epps. All right, now, Terrence. Again, Terrence Jackson, 1982. Again, three-sport winner. Mr. Jackson held the state title one time of 7 feet and a quarter of inch. He has been a cover in Sports Illustrated and Faces in the Crowd. I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terrence Jackson.
Good morning, good morning. No one's counting inches, but it was 7 foot and a half inch. Just giving honor to the committee this morning. Even last night, just being among these great nominees, just as I continue to interact with them and talk with them, I just really thought about it and I said, it is a great honor to be recognized and I really appreciate it. First and foremost, I truly give honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Nothing in my life that's taken place would ever be possible without Him. Of course, giving honor to my family, especially my mother. I want to mention my mom, Geraldine Jackson. My father passed away at a young age. I was 6 years old, and it left my mother in a place to raise four of us in the Eastern community by herself. And even after that took place, I always watched her, and I just was concerned, and I just always thought, wow, how is she doing this? How can she do this? And I just watched how she was just prayerful, and she would continue to take us to church and raise us up in the church. We've all had our issues and shortcomings, but that is one of the foundations that I really, truly appreciate today. Because if it wasn't for that, just a lot of things in my life wouldn't be. I'd like to thank my sister Trina. She's always been a passionate administrator, pushing the envelope to help get things done for me. And my sister Tony, always been a great support. And even my brother Troy, who's my best friend. And I thank them for their support as a family being here. Also relatives, Mark and other friends that are here. And I just thank God for that. Of course, the school board, I'd like to thank them. And for me, even being a young man in the community, even as my mom continued to have us in church, there was so many people in my life that played an intricate part in making a deposit in my life to help bring me to the man that I am today. I know Pastor Winfrey, back then he was Deacon Winfrey, and had an opportunity to go to church and travel with the men's choir with him. And I wanted to share something because even in all the accolades, I remember as a teenager, I would be traveling with the men's choir, going to Washington, D.C., going to other places. And this is on weekends, Saturdays. And I would ride by East End Playground, and see all my friends out there playing basketball and doing things. And it was just torn. I wanted to be with my friends, but I knew the peace that I got from being in church and being trained up and raised up in church. It was just something, a foundation, as I mentioned, that my mom had said. So even in the accomplishments and the accolades, I could take no credit for that, and I give all honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I'll share with you why. As a teenager, it was a scripture that I always remember, Psalms 37:4. It said, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." And even as a teenager, I'm learning and I'm wondering, what do these things mean, So even in some of the sacrifices, remember in 10th grade, not hanging out at the parks and playgrounds and learning those scriptures, and not only learning them, but applying them. And that was the year that I went to state for my first year and high jump 610 and won the gold medal for high jump. And then the following year, I just continued to try to delight myself in the Lord and was on the state basketball team. And we went to state and won another gold medal. Then I ended up going back as a junior for track and broke the state record, 7'1.5". I was fortunate to be placed in the Sports Illustrated Faces in the crowd. And then to come back even in my senior year, and I took second. But one of the things that I realized, none of that could be done without delighting myself in the Lord. And because I did that, He truly blessed me with the desires of my heart. So, and I'm just thankful for that. There was men in the community, that I wanted to mention as well. There's, of course, Mr. Ozzie Minor, Mr. Terry Jones, Chris Kluss, also Mr. George. But one of the people that always comes to heart, and I still keep in touch with him to this day, was Mr. Richard Beermeyer. This man would come around in his vehicle in the neighborhood and pick us kids up. And roll us in basketball tournaments down Pittsburgh and Shaler. And he would take us down there on his gas and bring us back. And back then they had the Hot and Now drive-through where hamburgers was 25 cents. I'm really telling the age, but he would do these things out of the kindness of his heart. And that's one of the things that always stuck with me. And he was always a servant, always giving. And even to this day, even with all the accolades, even with the medals, all those things, it's great. But one of my most profound and one of the most rewarding things is even when I come back to Uniontown and I speak to gentlemen and young men, and they share with me how they was encouraged by a word, or they was encouraged by how you carry yourself in different things. And I'm just thankful for that. That is the most rewarding to me, and I just like to encourage all of us just to continue to do that in the community and in the schools, and I'm honored to be here and accept this award. Thank you.
Presenting Mr. Jackson his plaque, Mr. Sal Mercandani. With the friends and family of Mr. Terrence Jackson, class of 1982, please stand up and recognize Mr. Terrence Jackson.
I'm sorry, one thing, I don't want to get in trouble, and I do want to acknowledge my lovely wife, Maya Jackson, and my children. Thank you for being here as well. Amen. Thank you.
How the hell to say? How the hell to say? Our next inductee under the vocational technical section of our Hall of Fame is Mr. Lawrence Gus Rossi, class of 1978. Mr. Rossi is a long-time electrical construction instructor at the Fayette County Career and Technical Institute. Mr. Rossi has served as the Skills USA Advisor for the past 28 years. His students have earned more than 25 regional gold medals, 4 state championships, and 8 national medals. He has twice been named Skills USA Advisor of the Year. Mr. Rossi serves as Vice President of the West Virginia chapter of the International Association of Electrical Inspectors. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lawrence Rossi, class of 1978.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here. If you would have asked me, I graduated Uniontown High School in 1978. I attended the Fayette Area Vocational Technical School. If you would have asked me then if I were going to be a school teacher, I would have called you a liar. My mother used to have to put me in the car, drive me to the school, open the door, throw me in and shut it and leave before I had a chance to run back out. wrote down about 20, 30 minutes worth of speech, but I'm going to keep this very short. This has given me an opportunity, being an instructor at the vocational school, to work with some of the nicest people and really hope to be a part of their lives to help them grow in some way or fashion. I was telling a story to this gentleman here, and I'm very honored to be associated with these people. A young man worked in a local lumber yard who attended my program, helped me load a couple things on my truck, and he said, Mr. Ross, he said, you better get a little bit of help taking these off. They're heavy. And I said, you're just not as tough as I am. Well, I got home and took them off and hurt my back and ended up laying in the yard. I was rescued by my wife, Linda, who I really appreciate. But long story short, he got a job as an electrician. He did a little better. He now owns the store where he sold me the stuff that hurt me years ago. And I'm very proud to see that. And there are many, many success stories that come through our school. And I'm very proud to know these young people. I work as an electrical inspector locally. I mean, they've been to some of your houses, I don't know. But to see the people that I've trained in school out working on jobs from something as small as rewiring a home to a multi-million-dollar wind project really gives me a lot of pride in what we were able to accomplish at the tech school. We've been involved with the Skills USA Club, which has allowed us to travel with young people we've been all over the United States with people, and I really enjoy that. Could not do that without the help of, I'm just a little co-advisor. We have two people that really help us. Mrs. Shaw and Mrs. Nebraska really pull our club together, and it's given us an opportunity to really work with the best of the best people. And I appreciate a lot of my students are here, and I'm happy to see that. My family is here. I have nothing more to say to that except one thing. I would not be here if not for the support of my wife, Linda. We've been married 26 years, and they said it wouldn't last 2 weeks. But I really, really thank you for the award, and I'm going to keep it as short as I can. Thank you very much.
Dave Herring would like to say a few words on behalf of Mr. Rossi.
I need to share something with you. Gus is a real close friend of mine, and I think everyone needs to have someone in their life like I do with Gus. Gus is the guy that I can call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we don't have any water or something like that, and he will actually come over, and we live in the mountains, and he'll take care of it. And he's done this many times for me. I don't know which end is up when it comes to those kind of things, but he's always been there for us. And I've never been able, he won't accept any payment from me at all, ever. And I always ask him, and he's a pretty quiet guy, and even when he's working, he doesn't say a lot, but anyway, he was fixing something for me not too long ago, and he said, I thought of what you could do for me, because I'm a minister. I said, what's that? He says, well, if you're still alive whenever I pass, I want you to do my funeral for free. So it's public now, so there's no way I'm going to be able to, I can't get away from it. He wants all of you to make sure, if he predeceases me, then I don't charge anybody. And he said if I try, he'll come back and haunt me. So I'm really gratified to be able to present this to Gus today. He truly deserves it.
With the friends and family, please stand up and be recognized on behalf of Mr. Lawrence Rossi, class of 1978. Each year, the Hall of Fame inducts a coach. This year, it's Mr. Bill Broda. Mr. Broda was the coach at the junior high level in Uniontown Area School District. Mr. Broda would start with the 8th grade students and continue to develop their skills through the 8th grade. These students were definitely ready for the varsity level once they were at the high school. His complete dedication to his student athletes was his willingness to take them to weekend tournaments and scrimmages while paying the entry fees on his own. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Broda.
Thank you. I want to thank the Uniontown Hall of Fame Committee for inducting me in the Hall of Fame. A little back history on Brownsville High School to North Louisiana University, U.S. Army, Medical Corps, and while in service, I married my wife, Jean Cantori from Belleville, married 59 years. She presently has dementia, and I'm a primary caregiver. My first job was at Salisbury, Maryland, teaching business and math and coaching football. Then I got a call from then Superintendent Don Glass to come in for an interview at Uniontown. So I was offered and accepted a position as a teacher at the high school, JV football coach, and assistant track coach to Abe Everhart. The second year I was transferred to Ben Franklin, where I coached junior high football and junior high track. And then all the fun and the memories started. The first year, May 24, 1961, Uniontown won the first WPIL track meet. No other school in the surrounding counties have ever won it. There were about 40 teams that participated, and you had to qualify. The boys that qualified was John Manning, Pat Yates, Ben Gregory, Gary Brain, Tom Boland, Louis Jenkins. And I was just talking to Gary Brain, he was a shot putter. All these boys played. And can you imagine headlines in the sports page, a full page coverage, a big write-up in the Pittsburgh paper, a big write-up in the Brownsville paper for junior high. And so you know how important athletics was then. And then I received a plaque for the winningest track coach. We had 13 undefeated seasons, 12 district champions, and a WPIL champion. And then in football, we had several undefeated seasons, never had a losing season. And then to explain what desire and effort that the teams made, Sal was on the team. We were playing a team for the championship to be undefeated. They were down 2 touchdowns, 2 minutes to go, and the other team had the ball. And guess what? They won. I don't know how. You tell me. Another memorable moment I had is Jeff Spinetti. We were playing Franklin Regional, and we were down there, and we had a 21-0 at halftime. They had a running back that scored, ran for 800 yards a year before, and they'd been undefeated for 3 years. Anyway, we had them 21-0 at half, and the coach talked to me at halftime. He said, "You guys are too tough. That guy with the black helmet in the middle, we just can't do anything with him. And the running back number 6, Paul Calvaresi, they couldn't stop him." And he said, "We're going to try something. If it doesn't work, I'm going to wave a white towel and we'll substitute." Anyway, Sal was a defensive coach then, and we scored again. He started waving a white towel, and I began substituting on his defense. He come running over, all upset because he didn't know what was going on. Anyway, that was a memorable moment. And that was the year I was offered the head coaching job at Uniontown, and I had other commitments and I refused. In basketball, I was talking to Don Yates. He was telling me how Lafayette always beat up on BF. Well, I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't here then. Anyway, in 1965, my first year coaching at Ben Franklin, they beat Lafayette the first time in 10 years. And Sal was a member of the team, and he was high scorer. I think he had an offer to go to one of the pro teams, but he decided not to go. Again, headlines in the sports page and full page coverage from junior high. And then the year after, from 1971 to 1978, I received a plaque for coaching basketball, 132 wins and 8 losses. 1977-78 season, we were 19-0, probably 30-0 because of the tournaments we won. Members of the team, Eric Fee, Ray Gabriel, Gary Popovich, Mark Vinelli, Mike Otis, Dwight Henderson, John Murtha, Jeff Roddy, and Jack Eidinger. Another team beat again that year was Canton, McKinley, Ohio, one of the better teams in Ohio. And then they were invited to the prestigious Penn Hills tournament, and they won. They were 5 times winners of the Mount Lebanon Invitational Tournament. And then I was offered the basketball job, and I thought seriously, I thought about who I would get to help me. And my consideration would have been co-coach Jesse Hudson. He was probably one of the first super players at Ben Franklin. Now, you get a chance to see the greatest coach around. If you want to know something about basketball, this is the guy you talk to. I was talking to Sal, he reminded me when I came in how great I was. At the practices, I would have books on the floor, I'd have notes and papers all around. But we won. And our teams were usually small in average ability. And we beat most of the local teams around. The teams down in Pittsburgh we had trouble with. So I know he was in trouble, so I didn't look for help. So at least I knew where to go. I went to West Virginia University with Freddie Shalas. I talked with him several times. He gave me suggestions. Then my wife and I would go to Hawaii, and on the way back we stopped at Las Vegas. And I got to know Coach Gertovich. And I was talking to him one day, and he said, "Do you have any problems?" I said, "Yeah, my basketball team, I don't even know what I'm doing." So he helped me put together a program. We spent a lot of time on it. But once the team perfected it, it was over. I mean, they were the team to beat. I never played in any game. I never won any game. I was just an administrator and a motivator. But our teams were, I know, in better condition than any team around. You ask any basketball player and they'll tell you. And they was always prepared to win. And again, I'm blessed to have the opportunity to have coached in Uniontown and maybe made a little contribution to the great winning tradition. Thank you.
To present Mr. Berta, Mr. Sal Merkendamen. With the friends and family of Mr. Berta, please stand up and be recognized. Mr. Bill Berta. Our next section of the Hall of Fame, the last two, is special recognition. This year we recognize Mr. Wilford Spider Minor. Wilford Minor was a local sports legend who taught, coached, and mentored many young athletes in Fayette County. He was a graduate of UHS in 1946, where he played football, baseball, and basketball. Mr. Minor was considered the commissioner of the East End playgrounds, where he helped to develop many All-Americans, NBA, and NFL athletes. His passion was motivating all athletes to perform to the best of their abilities. He was a natural leader in sports as well as in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Mr. Minor is his nephew, Wilford Minor.
Western Pennsylvania is known for Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, Chipped Ham, Iron City Bear, and nicknames. Poke, Bugs, Bulldog, Fast, Stretch, Cheese, Chops Ham, Gunner, Hook, Trippy. These are a few nicknames of Uniontown High School athletes. But long before any of them took the field or walked on a court, there was a spider. Wilford Spider Minor. I am his nephew, Wilford Randolph Minor. How did he get the name?
Bus Albright, gym teacher, gave Spider the name. Imagine a spider crawling up a wall. His quick hands, basketball savvy, and passion for competition allowed him many times to stifle the opposition. However, it was his leadership and active involvement in the community where he was able to talk to many citizens about concerns, sports, issues. He worked in construction and he was a general laborer. He also served in the U.S. Army. He was a member of the St. Paul AME Church of Uniontown. At East End Playground is where Spider saw the need to teach and coach young African American athletes who had abundance of talent, but his focus was to teach them how to play organized basketball. Athletes of all races and diversities played on the playground in pickup games. There were great legendary games that included athletes like Buddy Quartermont, Gus Gerard, Ron Sepik, George Poots, Don Yates, Pat Yates, Ben Gregory, and a multitude of other great players. It was a place to learn, compete, and evaluate your skills on the basketball court. But basketball skills wasn't the only thing we were learning. Back in them days, I say it's the unwritten rules of basketball. We played without a referee. We played and didn't shoot foul shots. But the skill we learned was how to disagree in harmony and come to a consensus to solve conflict. Sportsmanship, fair play, and ability to win and lose graciously. Spider continuously encouraged us to compete at the highest level, but maintain that integrity regardless of the outcome. Practice, work ethics, effort, respect for authority are a few of the qualities that many of the mentees were able to achieve in adult life. Uncle Spider, your teachings and inspirations have enabled me to become a teacher, a coach, and a principal of an elementary school. Teamwork. March 2003, Lonnie Gilliam wrote a letter to my Uncle Spider. I'm going to read a paragraph. Quote, "Much of which I've achieved is due to the lessons I have learned on East End Playground. While the basketball skills were appreciated, you taught me the importance of teamwork. And most of all, you taught me how to win, to figure out how to win, particularly when we're not the best or most talented. I will always remember the summer league teams you coached that allowed us and our teams to defeat teams with superior talent. My personal experience with Spider went something like this. How you're coming along with your studies? He emphasized the importance of education to me and all former athletes. He'd say, do you have any lunch money? You know what I would say, even if my mom gave me some. No. Come by the house this Sunday so we could watch the Steelers or the game of the week. I was so excited to hang out with my uncle. Spider passed away March 29, 2007. Uncle, you have touched many lives and shared your knowledge and experience. We thank you for your generosity. There's something that I haven't told you wisdom that you instilled in me, I was able to pass it on to my daughter, your great niece, who you knew as a little child. I would like to inform you that she graduated from Boston College with a PhD in applied developmental educational psychology and is now Dr. Kelly Ann Minor. I would like to thank the committee for nominating Spider for this prestigious award, and I'm honored and humbled to accept on behalf of my Uncle Spider.
On behalf of the committee, Mr. Sal Mercadetti presenting the plaque. Again, our team recognition, with the friends and family of Spider Minor, please stand up and be recognized. Spider Minor. Our last presentation this morning is a team recognition of the 1962 PIAA State Championship team. One little side note that I have, I graduated in 1989, so I heard the lore in the 1960s, and everywhere I go when I coached, Uniontown, 1960s and everything. And then other people told me the two best teams in the state of Pennsylvania at that time were the varsity team and the junior varsity team at Uniontown High School. And it always gives me chills every time I hear these stories about these gentlemen. The team was dominant. They were feared in the WPIAL and the state of Pennsylvania. They had a combined section record of 95-1 from 59 to 60 and 65 to 66. They beat Norristown in 1962 to secure Uniontown's second state championship, a feat that was last done in 1925. The team had Uniontown's first 1,000-point scorer in Don Yates. Many players on his team went on to play basketball on the collegiate level. The members of the 62 team were as follows: Pete Smith, Bob Sessler, Ronald Cassidy, Paul Yesbeck, John Zikovich, Joe John, Tom Fee, Jim Kovar, Dick Barnes, my father-in-law, Harold DiCarlo, Ron Sepik, Bob Borman, Don Yates, Alec Curry, Bennett Gregory, head coach Abe Everhart, assistant coach John Kruper, and manager Joe Ocado. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the 1962 PIAA State Championship basketball team, Mr. Don Yates.
Well said. I don't think it could mean that much to me. It meant a lot. Answered a lot of questions that I had about myself. I never knew the answers, but I know them now. I know them now. As far as I'm gonna say, you're 62 state champs now. There are some here that are familiar with that term. Those of you that are not on board, get on board. But we want to thank the committee for selecting us as an honor, and we are proud to be a member of the 2016 Hall of Fame of the Uniontown High School. To be honored and share the joy that is present in this room today is really turned out to be overwhelming. I had used that word prior to before hearing him now. Overwhelming, it doesn't fit the picture. the exchange of memories that I've had over the past, or we've had over the past couple days, has been greatly appreciated. I need a napkin or something. Over the past few days, has been greatly appreciated. This event brings back great memories of yesterday's, and we have many of those. Thank you very much. Being part of the legacy basketball program here at Uniontown has been a sense of pride for the 62 team, and we wear that with pride. We are proud to be proud. We've taken great pride in the fact that our school, our town, our community, our friends, our fans, and most of all our parents were able to share that moment in 62 with us. We were their chance. These feelings and emotions carry in our hearts and minds to this day. To have been the second team in the history of the school to win the state title was most significant. It only got significant after years passed. Whenever it actually happened, it was like, oh, okay, so we won, no big deal. But over the years, things develop, things change. And at that point and at this point, it was most significant from a historical and cultural perspective. You must remember that in 62, it was never said or even asked, man, they were the state champs. Those particular words weren't mentioned for 37 years. These words weren't mentioned till then. By accomplishing the feat that we did by winning that title, those that followed us had the freedom of mind. That meaning, prior to that, Uniontown would always go to their doggone field house. They'd win that section, they'd go to the field house, and they'd always lose that first or second game. That was our legacy. I don't know who was thinking state championship, we never even heard of it, and we never had one. But it just so happened that, but by us winning that championship in 62, it opened up a lot of minds for those that followed us. I really do believe that we were sort of influential in those particular youngsters being able to think that, okay, this can be accomplished, let's get our game together and go about and do that. So we take pride in that particular fact about winning that title. With all due respect, somebody had to do the dirty work. That's a laugh. The bar has been set pretty high. What I tell them is just this: step up to the bar, give a glass of that, what I call, not Gatorade, Ratorade. I appreciate you guys taking the time to celebrate this with us. Actually, it's been a great moment for me, and I'm sure it has been for the team. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yates. Come on, I can get a picture. Would these members of the 1962 State Basketball Championship team please come on stage to accept your plaque? Bob Sessler, Ronald Cassidy, Daryl DiCarlo, Ron Sepnick, Alan Curry. Gentlemen, please come forward to accept your plaque. festivities this morning. We'll turn it over to the boss, Mr. Mercadante.
How about this class up there? Aren't they great? You know, it's amazing. Fayette County has a Hall of Fame. All the schools in Fayette County, I don't know how many you are, they bring about 500 people to the Hall of Fame. We bring 400 to the school. That's amazing. And, I want to thank Aaron, who did a great job as the MC. I want to thank Mark Wood. He doesn't get much to say. He doesn't have to say much. The book we have right there, we have a publisher and a printer, but that's Mark's book. He does everything in the book, the advertisement and stuff like that, and all the bios and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time behind the scenes and everything like that. I want to thank the committee. And I want to go through. You got Tom George, Vice Chairman, Dina Cribble, Secretary, Mark Wood, Treasurer, Jess Hudson at large, Rich Beermeyer, Chairman of the Academics, Rich Sharina, David Winfrey, Pete Bosey, Alan Curry, and Mickey Howe. As the Arts Committee, Mickey Deliza, Chairman, Dario Piccolomini, Matt Gerard, Randall Kramer, Charmaine Sampson, Mark Allison, and the VOTEC, we have Dave Herring, Chairman, Dr. Jeffries, Judy Beermeyer, and my wife, Pam. Scholarship, Dina Cribbles, the committee chairman, Dario Piccolomini, Matt Gerard, Aaron Scott, Courtney Baker, and Christine Marcini. I'd just like to give a round of applause. It's a lot of work and they've done a lot of jobs. Can you put the lights up? You all stand up, please. Okay, we have a short video we got to show you too. I don't want to take away from anything like that. But you watch these young guys and look how old they're. I want to thank all of you, particularly for coming. It makes a special day for our inductees. Everywhere I go, I see I run into somebody from Uniontown. That's because we're everywhere. We really are. I'm going to ask you to come back next year. Again, nominating our books, and so we have some nominations so we can find some wonderful people. And we can turn the lights up and have the band play back there.